everyone. My name is Nick Chandi, and welcome to this webinar that we are hosting and on the topic of the fraud and the ransomware and all the other challenges you and your clients are facing today. And I hope this session would be very informative for you, and all of us will have some lessons to learn at the end of this webinar and how we can protect ourselves from the digital threats that we all are facing. A bit about me, I'm Nick Chandi, CEO and co-founder of Forwardly, and uh, most of my experience about today's webinar comes from my previous experience that I had at Welcome Networks. I founded a company, an IT consulting company, that was providing services to accountants and bookkeepers. We provided that service over a period of around 10 years. And I had the first-hand experience helping accounting firms how to navigate these challenges and steps they can take. And surprisingly, we sold that business in 2019, so it's been almost 4 or 5 years now. But the threat landscape hasn't changed much. It's more or less the same or similar steps that we can take. Yes, there are new things now with the AI and those kind of innovation. So that's why the agenda is would be very valuable, not only for this year, but for coming years as well for all of us. So we are going to talk about how the landscape looks like today, about the threats and fraud, and how it could make a meaningful difference if we have better payment workflows and the steps we all can take to avoid fraud and those kind of things. Currently, what we see, almost every business, they are being targeted by fraudster. Okay? And if you're running a website or you have a server sitting there, you have a cloud apps, you have computer at home, those devices, they're always under attack. Okay? And these scammers, they're scanning those firewalls and devices all the time, keep on sending those emails, fraudulent calls, all those kind of things are happening. 96% of business, almost everyone. And the truth is the numbers is going up year after year in the reported losses that we see due to fraud. Like in 22, there was a 40% increase, and we expect the number will keep on going up and up and up. Okay? Despite all the innovation and billions of dollars in investments in securities and better fraud protections, we don't see any meaningful difference. But there are some steps that your team members and your clients can take. Okay? To cut losses. Like last year, we expect due to fraudulent activities, we lost close to 10 billion. This is the number that we know, but the actual number might be a lot higher, because we all know about the big ransomware or big things that happen. There is a productivity loss. There are small businesses that keep quiet and they send a few $1,000s to these scammers, and those things, they never get reported. So we expect the numbers would be way higher. Even the bank transfers, close to 2 billion was lost through bank transfer. And unfortunately, what we see, anytime you become a victim of these kind of fraudulent activity, your business, almost 36% of them, they lost more than $1 million, which is a huge number, which is a big difference. It could make a meaningful difference for any business. They can go out of business. We see all the time there. Most of the attack that we see, I am pretty sure most of, if you have been running a business, you must have seen it coming in the email. There's a Adobe attachment, invoice or bill that need to be paid. There's a document coming through DocuSign asking for your signatures out of nowhere, never heard of it. And when you click on it, something strange happens. SMS text, we still get it, but still, it's more prevalent in the consumer space, um, asking you to click on a link or giving you some kind of discount. Phone calls, they used to be very common. Now, phone companies, they do have some kind of call control kind of functionality. So those scams are still there, but there hasn't been major increase. Spoofed website. Google and Bing and other browser and the search providers, they have done a very good job of flagging all those kind of spoofed website where a website claims to be, let's say, Microsoft.com, but it's not actually their website. It may be someone else. When you go there, it's going to download a malware to your computer, your PC, or your device, and will try to take over your device, basically. And many times we have seen that I saw firsthand too, around 12 years ago or so. We were approached by an accounting firms, and all of the data was encrypted. And someone installed a malware and took control of the data, and only option for them was to pay through a Bitcoin. They didn't have any backup on those days, and unfortunately, they had no option. So they went to Craigslist and bought some Bitcoin and sent to those scammers. And unfortunately, these kind of things are still happening. We hear all the stories of small and big businesses. Even the law enforcement, government is also victim of these kind of attacks as well. This was a charity, Treasure Island in San Francisco. And the fraud happened just because the bookkeeper email was hacked. Okay? And they changed the payment information, the wire information for the payment, and payment was made. And hackers stole over 600,000 from this non-profit charity, a big loss for them. And unfortunately, anytime these kind of things happen, there's not much law enforcement can do, because what happens, the money move to one bank account. Let's say if they're asking you a bank account, then move to the second bank account, then it goes to a third bank account. There's a chain. It is very, very hard to trace and track just because of privacy laws. And now we have crypto. Even though there is some tracking is possible with the Bitcoin and other crypto, but there are some ways that these scammers or hackers, they can they can they can try to hide their trails, and many times they are successful. And unfortunately, law enforcement, they don't have enough resources to go after these people. Most of these people are sitting outside of US or Canada, in Russia, or some other countries, and then very, very hard to track or enforce any kind of legal action against them. So how we can recognize the common tactics? The most common that we need to be aware of is the phishing scam. Almost always when you are going to be tricked, that will be through phishing scams. An email will come to someone, your client or vendor that you have been working back and forth, and all of a sudden you have confidence, you're responding to them, and you open a link or PDF or Word document, something, an HTML document, and the damage is done. Okay? Unfortunately, that's the most common way, and uh, this is a number is also going up and up and up, and many times through fake invoices. And once they control your data, they control your PC, they can do certain things too. They can take over your account as well. We deal in payment business, and one of the process in our system is that people will have to connect their bank account. And what we find sometimes, their bank accounts have been taken over by scamster, and it because other verification of the businesses they fail, but we can clearly see that someone else is controlling the bank account. It may be a known person, or it may be a scammer. So very, very scary. So we do need to take steps and talk about how we can protect our bank accounts and our business data as well. Because business email compromise, we call it BEC, and that's a pretty common way to perform or any kind of scam that these hackers use. So somehow they control your email account, your Outlook or Gmail. You never know that those things are happening. And then they send an email to one of your contact, and that's how the chain triggers. And the social engineering attacks is part of that one too, because we are more likely to trust the people we are already dealing with. If you're dealing with Nick or Jane, you will be more likely to naturally respond to those emails as well. We have seen it many times. Recently, an accounting firm that we work with, we were going back and forth with them, and one of their computer was compromised, one of their email account, and it sent an email to all of the users of that one, including us, because we were in the recent email, or somehow they found, okay, here is a new document for you, Nick, open it. And unfortunately, few of the people, they opened it, and you know that was a very, very unfortunate situation. We are talking about payment as well here, because when you lose money, businesses go out of business as well. That's the primary focus of these scammers. And unfortunately, checks, even though they are not digital, they're partially digital now, but those kind of frauds are very common. They are on the rise. Now it's technology is there where you can change signatures, where you can change the pay name or amount, those kind of checks. There are sophisticated devices out there where all kind of information can be completely washed, and checks. You wrote a check of $200, it could become a $20,000. That's what we see here happening. And checks are very, very unsafe way to transact a business. There was a PR company in New York, and they were receiving all their checks through email. And what happened? All of a sudden, that those checks they stopped coming, and it took them 3 months to resolve that issue, to find out what happened, because all those checks they were going to a different address, and those scammers, they were cashing out those checks. And even after 3 months, they were able to recover only around 60% of their AR. That could cause cash flow problems for your business, huge problems. If your margins are only around 20, 30%, and you are receiving only 60%, 70% of your AR, you are bound to have cash flow problems. There are other risks with the checks as well. You could become a victim of identity theft, very common. Even there's a study that showed there's a rise on the attack on the postal delivery person, and these gangs, the ring networks, they are attacking them, stealing the keys from them, just to steal the mail or identity of the people, so that they can perform more and more checks. Okay? And businesses, they are at the risk. In fact, countries are taking steps like Australia. They have decided to completely eliminate checks from their payment workflows. Okay? In here, we use a lot of checks, and I think we do need to move to the online payment methods, where there's a better tracking, better tracing on the payments, what's happening. This is a business, and the checks were cashed, even old checks, even before the bank account was opened. Because if you read the terms and conditions of any of these banks, they don't take any responsibility, and this business they had to close just because, bank owner the checks that were counterfeited and they were not real, and they didn't survive. So they are just two stories that I shared, but there are hundreds and maybe thousands of them. But this is the recent case that comes to mind. Now, we talked about checks and we talked about other payment threats, but one of the major things that we all need to be aware of the rise in the artificial intelligence technology that we see. AI, we have been talking about it for last 20, 30 years, but uh, in the last year or two, we have seen major updates, and now we believe AI is here. When it's there, it's going to impact us in a major way, either on the productivity side of making us more efficient, more effective. And unfortunately, the same thing is going to uh, be true for these hackers, these bad people who are always looking for new ways to perform fraud on business. Uh, just a few months ago, there was a London-based company. They were scammed of 25 million. So what happened? These gangsters, or ring networks, they organized a call. I believe it was a Zoom call where everyone was a fake person except the accounting person who was supposed to wire the money, and the CFO was fake. It was called a deep fake. So what happens is they find your videos online, they find your voice online, and they can create a true replica of you. Okay? Uh, Person talk like you, person they have same accent, same vocabulary. It's pretty close, 99% plus. That's how close we are today with the rise of technology. I am pretty sure you must have heard of a new technology that was launched by OpenAI just, I guess, a week or two ago, called GPT-4o. And it's a conversational technology. When you talk to the AI, it's like a human being responding, very, very close. Okay? You will have no idea who you are talking to, very, very close. It has kind of just the way human respond with the surprises and tones and those kind of things. So we are reaching to a point where AI will play a very, very big role in impacting us. So, and we need to be aware of deep fakes. So in this case, everyone was fake. There were multiple people that looked like the pictures that are on the website, and the accountant was sitting in Hong Kong, and they wired $25 million, and they came to know only after the scam was done. And the money was gone, weeks later. So so just be aware of that. And I believe the social engineering attacks, they're going to happen more and more, because so many people are posting on Facebook and the YouTube video. And once they have your voice, your picture, your data, you can create a real looking person, and almost trick anyone out there. Big threat to all of us that we need to be aware of. So what we can do, certain steps that we can take, anytime, it starts from being aware of the situation. So anytime someone is requesting some kind of sensitive information from you, just just say no. And be extra careful, go through extra steps, calling them, or talking to them on if you have some kind of a team discussion tool like MS Team or Slack or anyone, ask them a question there. Always questions, very important. And I talked about attachments, and many times, the people try to justify, okay, I moved to this new address, and they're typo mistakes, and multiple discrepancies in the information that they send you. And they always ask you I am in a rush. We need to do it today. I'm a CEO of the company. I'm traveling, or I have an urgent meeting and I need this wire to be done. I have seen it. An accounting firm, and they become a victim of these kind of fraud. And always watch for the spoofed sender address. So what happens for your, let's say your client is Microsoft.com, and email is coming from, let's say, Nick at Microsoft.com, but when you reply to, it's gonna go to some Gmail address or Yahoo address. So just be careful of that one. What's the reply to email address? Very common way to scam people. So just be aware of that. And other thing, most email service provider, including Office 365 and Google, they provide now options where you can track whether the email is internally generated or it came from outside, so that any email coming from your boss or from your colleague, whether it was an internal email or external email, they can create a flag for you, giving you extra insights to respond to those emails. Yeah? And obviously, when we are talking about payments or anything that sounds odd, late transaction and high amount transaction and round number transactions, all those kind of things, they are at the risk, and we need to be better aware of those kind of things. Well, if you become a victim of this kind of fraud, first thing you need to do is making sure your computer is up to date, your antivirus, scan it, call your IT person, and make sure your computer is protected. If the password need to be changed, change them. All of your accounts, your Office 365, or if you have a password manager, change that password too. Change the master key as well. Inform your bank or payment company this kind of fraud happened. They can put some extra checks on your account so that any payment that goes through your account for a certain period, let's say for the next 90 days, they will go through extra verification. Some review will happen. So those kind of things, inform your clients as well, so that, in case, they get some kind of fraudulent emails to change the account number or routing number or payment information, just be aware of that. And make sure, you inform law enforcement as well. If there's a website where we can report all those kind of fraud. But unfortunately, like I mentioned, law enforcement, they don't have the resources. They try to go after big fraudulent activities, but if it's a few $1,000 fraud, they're not likely to take any action. But that adds to the help, any data that you can provide, any IP address that you can provide, all that kind of data that helps them in doing their job. So it, session is more about the payment or money movement. So how do we control those things? So one of the key things to do is using a digital online platform instead of using checks or something like a shared checks are so much different kind of fraud can happen with checks. So use some kind of digital platform that has some kind of approval workflow built into, so that any payment that goes through 1 or 2% approval workflow, anytime the money moves, you get some intimation. Yeah? Your bank may or may not send you some notification, but there are systems, including ours at Forwardly. We send an email anytime any transaction happen on your account. And make sure, any payment that you do, whether through your bank or any kind of platform, there's a multi-factor authentication is there. And what happens is anytime you are trying to do a transaction, a message will come to you and a one-time password will come to your phone. So it's very unlikely situation that a bad person who is trying to perform a fraud here, he has access to your email, he has access to your account, and at the same time, they have access to your phone as well. Very unlikely, but it's possible. There are things like a SIM swapping, those kind of things they can do, where they can call your company and impersonate you because they already have all the information and they get a new SIM. So text message, the OTP will go to their phone instead of you. So that's why most cell phone provider, they give you the option to lock your SIM. Only way to change the SIM is going to their office or the retailer outlet. So always have OTP enabled, multi-factor authentication. There's a Google Authenticator is out there, those kind of things, but they could be of help. And always watch your account and make sure everything is in order. Anytime there is a request for the payment from the senior person or a colleague, always go through extra steps. I share the AI is here. Someone can impersonate your CEO or boss and make sure you have some kind of a code or password set up between you guys, so that anytime you are in a doubt, you ask for that password, any verbal password that only you two people know. Okay? And only take action when the password is given. Otherwise, take extra steps, like I shared, talk to them on team if you have internal system or Slack or any, but don't take any action just because someone called you. So using those kind of communication channel, that would be of help. Approval workflow, very useful nowadays. Technology is there where you can assign who is going to approve those bill payments, what are the limits, can they approve a $10,000 bill with a one person or two person, or they need a approval from three people. So use that technology to approve those bills or have better payment workflow. And other thing is, like I shared, AI is based on the information that is out there about you. The information is about your voice, your images, your videos, and your travel history, all those kind of things. Anytime a fraud happens through social engineering, and that's the way it happens. So make sure the minimum data is exposed about you online. Very, very important. Yeah, certain people, they have to, because they that's their business, but not everyone should be so active. And if you are, take extra steps to protect yourself. And the best line of defense is you. So just becoming aware of how this fraud happens. So have some training, attend these kind of webinars so that you know what's happening out there. And when you are trained, your staff is trained, and you are aware of it, I believe you guys will be able to protect yourself. So these are the kind of things that steps we can take to protect ourselves. And now my colleague Jane is here with me as well, and she is going to take you through a demo of our platform. And I hope this session was informative for you. And at the end of this demo, we will take some questions for you, and Jane and I will be able to help you out. So please send them our way and we'll be happy to answer them. All right, Jane, back to you. You are on the mute, Jane.
Yes, hello. Hi, everyone. Just sharing my screen real quick for you. We're just doing a little bit of a trade here. All right. And let me just turn my camera on. All right. Hello, everyone. Okay, so hopefully you can see my screen here. So this is our app Forwardly. What Forwardly is an instant payment platform for businesses in the United States that allows you to do unlimited US domestic payments. So we also help you receive payments faster, generally around 2 to 3 days faster on average than other payments, by using some of the newest technology from the Federal Reserve. So as an accountant, you're able to add basically unlimited businesses to our platform. When you log in, you'll be able to see the businesses here, whichever ones you've had listed. And adding a business is very simple as well. We connect directly with both QuickBooks Online and Xero to import your open invoices and your open bills, and show you cash flow forecasting, as well as make it easy to not only pay your bills, but also request payments from your clients. So say you actually want to request a payment from your client, we try and make it about as easy as possible for you. So clicking into the business, you can see your dashboard. We show you your account balance for your accounting and connected bank, your AR and AP right here at the top, and then a quick cash flow overview of the last 30 days and next 30 days. If we go into invoices over here on the left, you can see that we show the current balance of your connected bank accounts, and then also as well your outstanding invoices here at the top. Requesting is pretty simple. Basically, you just press request, you confirm the email address, the amount, which bank account you'd like to receive the money into, and then add a memo. We'll automatically show you if you want to accept the payment via bank transfer or if you have credit cards set up, because we do allow you to pay to request credit card payments from your clients and card payments. And once you pretty much have this information in, again, this is pulled from your accounting system, so you don't really have to update any information within Forwardly. We try and make it as simple as possible. Once you do that, you can just send the request, and pretty much from there, your client will get an email and they'll just be asked to please pay their bill, which they can do securely either through Plaid, just by logging into their bank account, or by putting in their bank numbers. Now, if you're looking to actually pay a bill, which is also obviously very popular, every business pays bills, you can just go to your bills section, go to outstanding bills, find the bill that you owe, click pay now, enter the email address at the top, and confirm the amount that you want to pay. So, if you're trying to pay maybe a partial payment, you can do that. Or alternatively, you can schedule the payment for later on. So you can choose pretty much any non-weekend day in the future to schedule that payment outside of holidays. Now, for this one, we want to pay it now. So we would just basically click pay now and click next. This is the point when we can choose which account confirm the account we're paying from once more, and add a memo. And as Nick said earlier, payment approvals for payments are very important. And we have this baked into our platform. So if you have your business and you have multiple people with multiple levels of payments that you want to be able to approve, you can set that up in Forwardly. Now, if you're the business owner or if you're an accountant attached to the account, you can also just bypass the approval and immediately basically just send that payment. And as Nick mentioned, again, we also do a quick multi-factor authentication. So we do send a security code to your phone just to make sure that it's working properly and that it is in fact you sending that payment. So if we put in the code, you can also always resend the code if there's any issues. And then that payment would essentially be sent at the fastest possible rate to your client. Now, on our platform, sending payments are free. We don't charge for any sending payments. What we do is we charge for receiving payments. So if you are receiving a payment using the fastest technology available, that means that payment is being received into your bank account within about 60 seconds. There's really no delays. There's no processing time. It's quick. In that case, we charge 1% capped at $10 per transaction. Now, if for any reason, say your bank doesn't support instant payments, or say you're sending your client sent you a payment that was above their instant payment limit, then that payment is going to go to you in probably around 1 to 2 days, and we're not going to charge you anything for it. So effectively, you're getting a same-day ACH for free. So if your bank doesn't support any kind of instant payment at all, we send it instantly as a same-day ACH. So it really just depends on the receiver's bank and whether or not they support the latest technology. And then we make sure no matter what, the payment gets to you as fast as physically possible. But again, you only pay for bank payments if you are receiving the money in within 60 seconds of it being sent to you. So as you can see, our platform is pretty simple. We've tried to make it as easy as possible for accountants to kind of pay and get paid and manage their clients' AP. Once you've made a payment, you can quickly, click in to see the details, see when it was initiated, processed, and delivered, see if any approvals went through. For this, for instance, because we bypassed the approval, we didn't have any approvals for this. So it clearly shows that it wasn't approved, which is also good for keeping track of your records. It shows the transaction ID and the payer, where it went, and what account it was paid from. As well, we do also have, again, those payment limits. So we have approval thresholds. So for instance, for this account, if they want to make a payment under $200, only one approval is required from Leslie. If they want to add another threshold, you basically just need to choose another amount, choose the number of approvals, and then select your approvers from your payment managers that you've had listed with this business. And then it's as easy as saving. So as you see, we try and make it really simple for you to make your payments as secure and quick as possible. We want them to be reliable. We want to help you get paid. We want you to help your clients get paid, and we want to help you pay your bills effectively and hold on to money longer, because realistically, holding on to money longer is going to lead to a more stable cash flow. Speaking of cash flow, we do offer rolling cash flow forecasts with all that accounting data from QuickBooks Online or Xero. We do turn that into a quick cash flow projection for you that goes up to 12 months in advance. And here you can also, go through your tabs, check and see what's actually happening, and you can view it either daily, weekly, or monthly. And that's pretty much it for our app. There's a lot of other aspects to it, and we are always happy to talk about it. Some say getting us to shut up is the hard part. So we'll leave it at that, and we'll move to the next portion of our webinar, our Q&A. If you'll just give me a quick second, I will get that loaded for you. I just need to switch to the right slide and share it here. So please make sure to share your Q&A please make sure to share your Q&A right away if you want your question answered by Nick and I. And here we go. All right, Nick, are you ready to answer a question? I do see that we got one question earlier today.
Mm-hmm. All right.
So,
yeah.
Heather asked, doesn't backing up all of your data protect you from ransomware? Which is a good question, because we just saw this we actually just saw this in Canada. I'm personally based in Vancouver. So for us, we just had a nationwide drug chain get basically shuttered for over a week because of a ransomware attack. And, even though they had backups, I think when they were doing the calculations of how much they probably lost, I believe the business actually lost money by not paying off the ransomware, even though they had the backups, right? Because it took so long for them to completely replace their entire technology and do that giant rollback, that it actually, even having that backup didn't protect them, right? Not realistically in the end.
Yes, you're right, Jane. So what happens, like in this case, that they were a multi-billion-dollar company. They had the backup, they had multiple backups, but that doesn't protect you. Yes, it does provide you a line of defense. That's the first thing you should do it. But what happens is now the malware is out there that gets secretly installed on your computer or server or cloud, wherever you are. Okay? It's sitting there for days, weeks, and months before you even know it. So what happens is when you make a backup, it's backing up the malware as well. And we all have finite amount of resources. Once they activate, and what you find is the whole data get corrupted. We have seen in our IT work, like I've shared before, where we're providing IT consulting services, IT support services to accounting firms. And the backups go bad, and the offsite backups, they go bad too. And it's all about, making sure your antivirus is up to date, your firewall is up to date, and your staff, your team members, they're aware of how fraud happens. Because as a human being, we are the weakest link in the chain. Let's say there are 20 people firm and one person is not paying attention. So they are going to let those hackers in. Okay? So it's very important that you do some kind of a training or awareness campaign, or sending them the links about these kind of things happening. Because we have seen again and again, people get, even the trained people, they can be tricked as well. Because we are all in the rush to do our work, and we trust our parties that we deal with, and it's all part of the social engineering. So you need to work on all these three fronts, three, four, five fronts, and backup is one of them.
Yeah. And I will say as well, another common thing that I've heard quite a bit about, especially lately, as ransomware kind of becomes more and more common for smaller businesses, there's also additional schemes that happen when you get targeted by ransomware. As Nick mentioned earlier, these do tend to be very large groups that are, it's not just a single person playing around with ransomware. This is a targeted, trained group whose sometimes entire life is simply scamming people. So one interesting aspect that they do tend to follow is, if you find yourself getting hit by a ransomware attack and it ever happens to you, be extremely wary of follow-ups from strangers who offer to fix it for you. Because an additional component that we hear about is you'll get attacked by the ransomware, your information is locked, and then conveniently you'll get outreach that says, hey, have you been hit by ransomware? We'd love to help you recover your data. Now, going to somebody who specializes in ransomware and you've had a friend who's been helped by them before, that's one thing. But this additional aspect, in some cases, you're actually dealing with the same scam group that originally ransomwared your computer or your data. And they're actually doing that follow-up in order to convince you to pay them to unlock your data in just a different way. Of course, the end result being you will never get your data back. Once your information has been ransomed, you're not going to get it back. That's a very simple, unless you're willing to pay often the millions that they're asking for, or hundreds of thousands, it's very, very unlikely to happen, which is why those backups are so.
Even if you pay them, Jane, what we have seen is the
they
key
don't do
they provide, that doesn't work properly. It doesn't unlock the file properly, and it can work for maybe for the Word documents or the Excel file, but we have data sitting in different formats too. We have seen, they lose a relationship, and sometimes file get corrupted. So very, very hard, even if you pay them. Well, they say we should never pay them because that keeps them motivated. These rings, they made over $1 billion just from ransomware last year, and that's a reported number. But like I shared, actual number maybe 10 times, 20 times bigger, because there are smaller guys, smaller businesses, they are paying them as well.
Yeah. And I will say as well, another additional thing you can do with your team is, obviously while training is also important, another thing you can do is actually your own stealth tests. So you could say, try creating a fake Gmail and emailing them from that and see, will they fall from an email from something that looks similar, right? Buy an extra domain or play around with actually contacting them and faking them out, essentially, because, just like kind of speeding and seeing a cop on the highway, going through an attack, even if it's a fake one, will get people to pay more attention in the future. So doing periodic tests like that, and again, really periodic training with your team, is critical towards keeping them on their toes. Because
there are companies that provide that kind of services too, Jane.
There are systems.
So you pay them a small amount of fee. They will send an email to all your team members, and they will tell you who clicked on the link. Right?
Yeah, and those are very important. I mean, I remember back when I used to do, I did limited IT for one of my old businesses, and I mean, I remember once I was working at home and I got a call, and our receptionist was saying, "Hey, I can't open this fax." And immediately my heart dropped because I just knew, oh no, that's not a fax, and of course it wasn't. So that immediately led to a whole lockdown, right? We had to change everybody's passwords, and we had to review all the data and make sure nothing was broken. We had to roll to a couple of new backups, and it's just test your team. That's the biggest component of this. Like Nick was saying, the social component is the biggest part. So make sure that your team is fully trained and on top of things. So that's all the questions we had for today, Nick. It wasn't too many, but I guess we'll move to our next slide. So thank you so much for spending time with us today. We really do appreciate it. And thanks, Nick, for giving that quick overview of fraud and fraud options. As a reminder, both Eleanor and I did, oh, I see we got some more questions. Never mind. Okay. Sorry, we did see some questions. I'm so sorry. Those didn't pop up for me. We did get a question from Sherry saying ACH, is this option only available in the USA, which is very similar to Karen's question as well. Is this for Canadian companies? Forwardly is only available for US companies right now. So we unfortunately cannot do Canadian domestic payments at this time. But if you are looking for that kind of thing, we do recommend follow us on social, because I'm based in Canada, a bunch of our team is, and we'd love to, I know we're looking into it later this year. Right, do you have anything to add there, Nick?
No, you nailed it, yeah. So yeah, if there's enough interest from Canada, yeah, we'll accelerate it. Yeah, we have plans to come to Canada too.
Yeah. And
because the only reason we don't have is because our focus is on the instant payment, and currently US market is there that offers FedNow or RTP. These are the instant payment technology where the money, you receive money instantly in your bank account. But unfortunately, Canada doesn't have it. Yes, there are way around like that, like Interact or those one, but we don't have the real-time payment rail here in Canada yet. But they're working on it, and I believe they are hoping to have it in next 1 or 2 years. And we are keeping our options open, what we can do before that, so that we can provide these kind of services to businesses in Canada as well.
Yeah, I think originally the plan was to have real-time rails in Canada by 2023, except unfortunately the pandemic significantly delayed it. Which was quite unfortunate, because I know a lot of people in Canada were looking forward to being able to send payments faster. We do have another question from Leslie, which asked, does this interface with QBO? Forwardly does interface with QuickBooks Online, so or at least it integrates with it. We don't have an interface within QuickBooks Online, right, Nick? So we don't have embed on an invoice kind of thing at this point, but.
Yeah, but we fetch invoices directly from QBO. First time you can do it manually as well, but we have auto payment as well, so that you don't have to pull invoices from QBO. You make a connection, and we automatically going to fetch those invoices as long as they are created. We sync once a day, but you can always sync. Let's say there's an invoice that you just created today, you can sync at the Forwardly platform, will fetch the invoice from the system and collect the payment from your clients.
Yeah, it's fairly quick. So, and I think the auto payments is definitely the biggest game changer. We've had a lot of people just switch over from other payment methods because they found that the other ones were too unreliable. For instance, maybe they were using like a proposal software, and I've heard from multiple people, they might be using a proposal software that has ACH built in, but the software, that ACH takes so long to process that their client will get a notification to pay their bill after they've paid the bill, because the payment says processing and it's taking so long to go through. So we kind of help you subvert those problems, right? It just doesn't.
The thing here
really
is,
happen.
Jane, if you look at most proposal software out there, they give you the money in 6 or 7 days. And that's a very, very long time. They're holding that money in their account for that period and earning interest or other income on there. So you are kind of working at a bank for them for those 7 days. But the technology is here today. You have done the work, you have earned the payment, and that should be paid right away. So that's the world we are moving towards, and technology is here, and that's where our focus is. And I believe we received one more question, Jane, just now.
We did from Leslie again. So is there a way to record the payment activity into QBO, then without AJE?
So what happens? Yes, the QB overly syncs automatically with the QBO, and anytime a payment is made, we are going to record right away in QBO as well. We're gonna record the entry there, and we're gonna make the invoices paid marked as well.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the two-way sync is pretty good. It'll also show within Forwardly if there's been any issues with syncing, so you can go in and see on the payments made or on the payments received. It'll outright tell you on the line if it has been properly synced with QBO or Xero. And we are hoping to also add FreshBooks in the next month or two, as well as a couple of other integrations later this year. So if you're
Yeah,
watching the call and you don't use QuickBooks Online or Xero, write in, let us know, and because we focus our development on what people ask for.
yeah,
Right.
FreshBooks and Zoho, they're coming next. Yeah.
Yeah. So, all right. Any other questions? I don't see any more. I'm triple checking. I don't see any more. Do you, Nick?
No, that's it. Yeah.
No.
All
All
right.
right.
Thank you, everyone, and I hope this session was helpful. If you have any questions about, about how we can help you being more proactive in protecting yourselves, or about our instant payment solutions, our bill payment solution, yeah, please feel free to reach out to us. Our website is forwardly.com.
Yeah. All right. Oh,
All
thank
right.
you. All right. Thank you so much,
Thank you.
Lisa.
Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye.
Have a lovely day, everyone. Take care.